It happened on a Wednesday morning, the kind of morning when the sun rises tired, as though it carries the sorrow of the night before. In Umuoma village, Ruth stared at the empty mat beside her. Her husband, Chike, had died 3 weeks earlier, a sickness that appeared suddenly like an uninvited guest and refused all prayers, herbs, doctors, and tears. The villagers said it was spiritual. Doctors said it was late diagnosis. But Ruth knew it was simply his time. They had been married only 2 years. Now at 25, she was a widow. His mother, Mama Dinma, sat by the window, staring at the burnt-out lantern. "Enwanioma," she said quietly. "If tears could resurrect a man, Chike would be here sweeping this floor like before. But death doesn't take bribes, even from true love." Ruth wiped her eyes. "Mama, what will you do now?" That was when Mama said the sentence that planted the first seed in the garden of destiny. "My daughter, I am going to Lagos. I have a sister there. Things are bad for me here. The farm is gone. My son was everything I had. I must go, but you must return to your father's house. You are still young. You will marry again." Ruth's eyes met hers, and in that moment she didn't speak as a widow. She spoke as a daughter. "Mama, where you go, I will go. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. If I leave you now, even the ancestors will ask me why." Mama tried to speak, but tears answered for her. That night the crickets sang. But the village knew a new journey had already begun. They left Umuoma aboard a crowded bus headed to Lagos, the city that never sleeps, the land where dreams and frustrations share the same bedroom. Inside the bus were a young man preaching about repentance, a mother breastfeeding twins, a businessman shouting on the phone about missing a deal, and 2 women whispering about Ruth and her decision. She just wants to follow Mama because she has nobody left. But Lagos is not village. Oh, people die there without burial. Ruth heard them but stayed silent. She remembered her grandmother once said, "The road does not fear the footsteps. It is the walker that must fear the road." By dusk, the bus neared Lagos. Skyscrapers stood like giants piercing the clouds. Danfo buses honked like angry goats, and street hawkers moved with the urgency of survival. Mama whispered, "Lagos, if you survive here, you can survive anywhere." Ruth nodded slowly. "Then we will survive." They stayed in Agegunnel, in Mama's sister's small 2-room apartment. The house smelt of kerosene and old memories. Days turned into weeks. Ruth searched for work, but Lagos was not welcoming. Some said she was too quiet. Others wanted things she would never give. One man at a restaurant told her, "Work is available, but managers prefer those who know how to appreciate them privately." Ruth walked away. Sometimes she wondered if following Mama was the right decision. One evening, Mama spoke softly. "Ruth, I have nothing to give you but prayers. But I know one thing. Your loyalty will not end in shame. A loyal woman carries a seed that God must water." That night, Ruth knelt and prayed, "God, I am not asking for gold, only for the strength to keep walking. If you open a door, I will step in. If not, I will wait outside without complaining." It happened on a rainy Thursday. Ruth was cleaning tables in a local eatery, where she had finally gotten a job as a cleaner. A man in a neatly tailored suit walked in, tall, composed, with the quiet confidence of success without arrogance. He watched Ruth cleaning gently. When she greeted him softly, he replied with a smile. Minutes later, she saw him being served and overheard he was Mr. Tundademi, the owner of the biggest chain of restaurants in Lagos, Tun's Taste. Something prompted her heart, that small voice that whispers before miracles, "Go and serve him water." She took a clean glass, poured cold water, and placed it before him without being asked. He looked at the water, then at her. "You offered this without request." She smiled gently. "Sir, sometimes water is needed before words." He was impressed. "What is your name?" "Ruth." "What do you do here?" "I clean, sir." "Is that all you want to do?" She paused. "Sir, my hands are cleaning tables, but my heart is cooking dreams." He smiled. That was the moment her road curved toward destiny. A week later, she was invited to come to the headquarters of Tun's Taste in Victoria Island. She went, nervous but not afraid. "Mr. Tun said, Ruth, I saw something in you. Your humility reminds me of my late mother. Would you like to learn the business?" She hesitated. "But sir, I am a widow. I have little education." He leaned forward. "In this Lagos, success is not about what died in your past, but what you are ready to plant today." Thus began Ruth's training. In the months that followed, Ruth worked harder than anyone. She arrived before others, learned customer care, food handling, and basic accounting. But as her favor grew, so did the jealousy. One staff member, Bucola, who felt threatened, plotted against her. She spread rumors that Ruth was using woman trick to attract the boss. One day, a large amount of cash went missing from the restaurant account. A suspicion fell on Ruth. She was asked to step aside pending investigation. That evening, Ruth sat outside in the rain, not crying. Mama found her there. "I didn't steal," Ruth whispered. Mama held her. "My daughter, when the wind blows, trees with weak roots fall. You have strong roots. Let the storm come. God will not let you break." 2 days later, the truth surfaced. The CCTV showed Bucola taking the money. She was arrested. "Mr. Tund called Ruth. I apologize. Not many people emerge from false accusation with dignity." Ruth replied softly, "Sir, when you stand on truth, the ground cannot remove you." He smiled. "You are ready." A year later, Ruth became regional manager of Tun's Taste outlets. The company expanded from 3 to 12 branches. Her sense of fairness and empathy made even difficult staff cooperate. Customers loved her. Mama's health improved, and people began asking, "Is she married?" But Ruth wasn't searching. One day, Mr. Tund invited her and Mama to dinner. There he shared his story. Widower, one child, no peace for years. He looked at Ruth. "I did not just find a good worker. I found a woman of strength. I know you lost a husband, but I see courage, not brokenness. I see a future that could bring healing to us both." Ruth looked at Mama. Mama smiled gently. "My daughter, sometimes the same God who closed one door wants you to walk through another." And just like the biblical Ruth found Boaz, Ruth of Lagos found love through destiny. They married quietly, not in glamour, but in gratitude. Today, Ruth and her husband run a foundation helping widows and jobless youth in rural areas move to cities with support and mentorship. People call her Mama Restoration. On her 80th birthday, Mama called reporters together and said, "I came to Lagos empty. My daughter came with me not because she had nowhere else to go, but because she believed love is stronger than logic. In life, follow those who value your presence more than those who appreciate your absence." If Ruth had gone back to her father's house, the world would have missed this story. So I tell you, sometimes destiny does not begin with arrival. It begins with a decision to stay. She passed on peacefully at 81, buried not in Umuoma village, but in a land of fulfillment next to Ruth's home. Loyalty is a seed. It may be planted in tears, but it will be harvested in joy. Sometimes the right decision is not the easy one. Character will take you where connections cannot. Never abandon those who stood by you in pain. Your past may be bitter, but it does not make your future tasteless. God can use one decision to rewrite your entire story. My people, if this story touched your heart even a little, if it made you reflect, smile, cry, or believe again, subscribe now. Follow this channel/page for more powerful African folk tales inspired by faith and real life. Share this story with someone who needs hope today. As we say, the tale you hide may be the medicine someone else is praying for.